It can be a very emotional experience for a first-time dad during the birth of his baby. Some dads can feel quite helpless in the delivery room, but their role is very important. With us today is Oscar and Des and Susanna to talk about their experiences and the role they played in supporting their partner during the delivery of their baby. Welcome, guys.
Regan.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good to have you here. So, you're both obviously at the birth of your baby. How did you handle the birth of your baby?
Bono, he's a very healthy, smart young boy, so I suppose I did all right. I wasn't sure how well I was doing at the time, but it's very, probably the most important thing that's happened in my life. So it was quite an intense sort of year period.
Yep.
And yeah, very, very relieved and happy to get out the other side with a healthy young boy. And so yeah, I suppose I did all right, really.
Yeah. And what about you, Des? How did you handle the birth of Susanna?
Yeah, for us it was a fairly traumatic experience. I mean, it was exciting at the same time. Susanna here she was induced at 39 weeks.
Okay.
Because my wife had a liver condition.
Right.
So we knew, I guess, when exactly it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But it was still quite nerve-wracking. And Mary's labour went for about 5 hours, and then it wasn't going very well, and the baby was distressed, and its heart rate went up, and so she had to have an emergency caesarean in the end.
Okay.
Yeah. So and Mary went under a general anaesthetic.
Oh, full general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was fairly nerve-wracking. I had to wait outside while all this was happening in the end. So it wasn't what I expected, and then about an hour later, Susanna was wheeled out with a little oxygen mask on, and
right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But she came through, and yeah.
And how did you cope with all of that? I mean, that'd be pretty trialing for you.
Yeah, it was a concern, and I guess when you're there at the time, you just deal with it. You just go into survival mode, and the adrenaline's pumping, and
It's a pretty intense experience.
Yeah.
What about you, Oscar? Was it a pretty smooth birth? Or?
Well, it was, Regan, up to sort of the birth time. It was we had she was a very young mother,
right?
And she'd gone in. She was having some bad migraines, so she'd gone in a few times, and they kept releasing her back home. We finally got her in there, and it was a very long labour. It was about 12 hours.
Okay.
And you're watching the minute by minute sort of countdown, and I was. It was beautiful all the way through. The midwives were fantastic. Everything was very relaxed and calm. And then there was this, right at the end, there was like a 2 or 3 minute panic where you see the body language in the room change. Doctors in white coats started coming from everywhere, and all of a sudden I got pushed to the corner, and you really saw the concern in some of these people's faces, and that was really scary because. You're just helpless, your baby's and your partner's wife's in these experts' hands.
Absolutely.
And really all I was doing was sort of praying, just that it all went well. And yes, I was very, very scary those few minutes. And, we were very relieved to get out the other end, and he was fine. But yeah, it's quite amazing where your life sort of comes down to those couple of minutes, and that's going to dictate everything. So yeah, it was a wonderful experience till that time, but yeah, very scary.
So what did you guys do? What did you do, Oscar, to prepare for the delivery of your baby and the birth of your baby?
Well, I got really into it. I went to it was a very big deal in my life, so I went to all the, it was quite a while ago now, the Le Mans classes.
Yep.
If I say it properly. So we used to do those at the Royal Women's after work, and essentially just helping her get through it. Like I said, she was young, so it was pretty scary, I suppose, for her. And yeah, just made sure I was there to, I really wanted to be in the delivery room. I've got a Spanish background, and it's very unheard of for men to be involved in it.
In your culture?
Very, very. So it was, but I'll tell you, there was times in there, especially in those few minutes, where I certainly would have rather be down the pub and not known that all this thing happened.
Yeah. And Des, what about you? What sort of preparations did you do for the birth of your beautiful little daughter?
Yeah, I went to all the antenatal classes as well. And I did a lot of reading as well. I just thought I'd get a few books out and stuff. And there's one particular book that we followed, like week by week, the progress of how she was developing, and which was really good.
I think I know the book.
There's a few videos and stuff that I watched as well. Yeah.
Okay, so Des, was it, obviously you said the birth was quite traumatic, so it probably wasn't what you expected, but was any of it what you expected?
No, probably not at all. I mean, I guess it's hard. You have expectations of how you think it's going to go, and I mean, I thought I'd be in there, holding my wife's hand, and helping her deliver,
mopping her brow. It's
exactly,
okay.
Yeah. But it wasn't like that at all, and I couldn't be there, which was a bit sad. I guess I would have really liked to have been there. And my wife, in a way, wasn't even there herself because she was knocked out under anaesthetic. So,
and it's pretty rare too.
For
birth.
So neither actually saw her actually being delivered. So not at all. No. There's room to grow.